outside my doorstep, singing sweet songs, the melodies pure and true, singing, this is your ancestors' message to you. Don't worry about a thing, especially Texas, because they got wave 2 coming, because every little thing gonna be all right. And it's always a ting. Don't worry about a ting. Don't worry about a ting, cause every little ting has always been all right. That's what your grandmama told you. It's always darkest before the dawn. Rise up this morning, smile at the rising sun. 3 little beds outside my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my, that's my voice. Oh my God. See, anybody worried? Don't worry. Anybody worried about a ting? Is a ting coming to get you? Some murder hornets? Cause every little ting, a new cuckoo flew wave 2, gonna be all right. All right, let me do this. Don't worry. I gotta stop singing. I sing every morning. The only time y'all gonna catch me singing is in the shower and before a video. I sing all the time. I love singing. Don't worry about a ting. Let me get YouTube real quick. Cause every little ting gonna be all right. Oh, first I gotta put the title. What's the title? All they fear are wise warriors, but 1% thrive on both apart. Oh yes. Oh, this is gonna be a delicious one. Oh, absolutely. Cause you know what? Where'd this come from? All of this comes from my friends. None of this comes from me. I let y'all know every single time. I don't know why people like, oh, Gerard, you taught me this. I didn't teach you nothing. I didn't teach you nothing. Somebody sent me something. Ooh, Hotep, Motep Jesus. Do y'all know Motep Jesus? Does anybody know him? Y'all know him? I was watching him on Rogan this morning. Oh my goodness. Well, he was on last year, but I was watching Hotep Jesus. Oh, that man is on to it. Now, he wrong about a bunch of things, but he right about a lot of things. What did he say? A couple things. He was talking about the Proud Boys. He's talking about the Proud Boys. And he's a black dude. He's a black, he got the melanin I got. He got the melanin I got. Guess what he said on Rogan? He said the reason that the Proud Boys were kicked off of Twitter first, he said because they're men. So that's why they got kicked off. They're men. They're like, no, it's because they're racist. I was like, no. He said because they're men. And the only thing the ruling elite fear are men. And I agree with that in 1/3 part. The ruling elite only fear men, they only fear women, and they only fear wise warriors. They don't fear the wise, and they don't fear the warriors. If you're wise and you're not a warrior, I don't give 2 damns about you. You can be popular. You can have millions of followers. You can be on stage at any speaking engagement you would like. If you're a warrior and you're stupid like the mountain, y'all, the mountain was the other one. Big as hell. This man big as hell. I gotta show you something. This man big as hell, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how big you are. If you're stupid, then you know. So the only thing the ruling elite fear are the only thing they take out. They take out the strong and the wise. They don't take out the strong and the stupid. They don't take out the wise and the weak. The wise, the ones that's wise and not willing to stand up. And then we're not talking about strength from a muscle perspective. We're not talking about muscles at all. That's part of the conversation, but that's not it. It's, are you willing to stand up? Some of the wise, some of the strongest people I know, they birth babies. Which brings up another topic. I asked a question, everybody was afraid to answer it this morning. Is Jason here? Is that bastard? He is a funny dude. He is a funny dude. Who asked this question? Hang on. Somebody said we're not really Americans, and the Native Americans, what they say we're not really Americans, and well, he said kind of what I said, that somebody was here before the Native Americans. I forgot how he said it on the post. And Jason with Paley, what is his name? Is that bastard here? He said, no, we're not really Americans, and we're not really North Americans. He said, we all come from the same place, and I'm sitting here thinking like, where we come from? Africa? Because I don't know, it's a debate right now whether we come from Africa or India, because the first people now, going back in ancient times, some people say Lemuria. And I'm trying to think about, well, where did we come from? He said, no, we all came from the same place. And does anybody know the answer to that? He said, this is crass, but I'm going to answer the question for you. Jason, I don't think it was crass at all. I think you're right. I think you're right. You know what he called us? He said, we're not Americans, we're not Africans, we're not Germans, we're not Britneyans. He said, we vaginikins. And I was like, damn, you're right. And it's a little crass when you don't think about it. But if you really think about it, because you know how my mind works, I like to think about things. Like, I laughed at first, and I think Christ was over there, she's laughing too. And I said, but he is right. We all come from a creator. We are all creators, and we're created. We all came from the same place. And after that, they give us all these little stupid labels and names. You're not even going to get down to the race part of it and the religions. But we all vaginikins. We just like to respect one or two or three. And that's about it. Then we don't stop. If we actually respected all of them, if we in a society that never respected those people, those creators, and we admit who we are, I don't know. Maybe we need to start a tribe of vaginikins. What y'all think? It sounds crass, but it's not. It's just biology. Don't be a stupid American. It's just biology, people. That's all it is. It's genitals. You need to be proud of all your genitals. Some of y'all got both of them. I'm fine with that too. I think if we paid homage to where we all came from, we could be wombikins. We don't have to be that. If that's y'all indoctrinated, y'all don't like that name. I don't see no hearts or nothing. So we could be wombikins. I'm fine with that. But I think that name speaks more to who we are than Britons and Americans and Africans and Chinakins and Indiakins and Russiakins. That's what I think. And that was fantastic. Nobody answered the question though, because I think y'all probably knew what I was talking about. Like, no, we ain't gonna step in that trap. There's women around here, they're gonna hurt us. Yeah, that hurt you. That hurt you. But it only hurt you if you coming with disrespect. If you coming with respect, you recognize where they came through, the most abused people on this planet, then you're good to go. Oh, but Hotep Jesus, he said a couple things. Oh, let me get to the talk music. He said a couple fantastic things had me thinking this morning. Hang on. Where the music at? Sound team, put in the talk music. All right, there. Now talk music. Let's turn that down a little bit. Good morning, everybody. Don't worry about a thing, because everything gonna be all right. Because we got tons of warriors and we got tons of wise. If we put them together, man, are we gonna go somewhere? Well, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Texas. They said Texas, the numbers are going up in Texas. First of all, turn your television on. And I got to stop with my attacking television too. Television, I am sorry. It actually is not your fault. You actually are a tool. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And I'm sorry I've been attacking television for a long time. Television, I'm sorry. The problem is not television. The problem is we're either warriors or we're wise. We're not both. The television is just a tool. People can turn it off and they don't have to believe it if they don't want to believe it. They don't have to believe the news. They don't have to believe the billionaires and the elites that always lie to us. They don't have to, And so, so I posted that, the numbers are going up in Texas. Get ready for lockdown 2. It's coming. They already told us. So, pretend that it ain't coming. They're going to try. We'll see what we'll do. But they're going to go for the second lockdown because the pharmaceutical companies already bought all the advertising. Turn on the television. They're pretty much the only thing on advertisement on it. Well, it's not. I don't see the television. I see I watch my shows on this laptop. But it's the same basic thing when it comes to advertising, right? Advertisers advertise in place where people will buy their trash and their junk. And they've already bought the advertisement, so we know is flu season part 2 is coming up. And I didn't engage in your flu season this year. I didn't partake. I'm not interested in your tabloid flu season attack. I eat healthy food. And I go out there and I own a microscope and I know that biology and viruses and bacteria and everything is everywhere. So I'm not worried. But I posted it and Christ asked the question, said, well, what part of Texas? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't click. I don't read the news. I'm not partaking in flu season. And so I was a little upset. So I had to go back through my phone and find the pop-up and go down and click on it because there's always somebody in the crowd. I need to see the link. So I found the link. I was upset with that. But I didn't read it. I just sent the link. So I don't know what town in Texas y'all supposed to be scared. I'm not scared. I'm going to be outside. I really don't care what your global elite says. Once again, I'm a warrior and I'm working on that wise part. I've always been a warrior. I've always stood up to the bullies. I stood up to my father once. He put me through a wall. See, that's when I was a warrior. I was total warrior. I wasn't wise at that point. Yeah, he put me through a wall. And he loved me enough. I told that story before. He only put me through the sheetrock. He could have put me through the stud. He only decided to put me through the sheetrock. And I thank him for that. Slowly then I became wise. I'm becoming wise. But good morning, everybody. The global elite, they only fear the warriors that are wise. They don't fear the warriors. They'll take you stupid and they'll use you stupid all day long. They'll use your strength against you and your children and your next children and your grandchildren and your great-grand. They'll use you against your own interests all the time. Wise, you can be wise as you want. If you're not saying nothing, you're not doing nothing, you're not helping to educate the warriors, because we all could work together. Goodness gracious, do I look black this morning? What happened? Y'all didn't tell me. I got a shade darker. Hold on, wait. Well, I've been in the sun, but hold on. I got my vitamin D3, but I think something wrong with the color. Let's brighten that up just a little, not too much. Whoa. We know we need mocha. Right about there. All right. Yeah, I was disappearing. I was about to smile so y'all could see my face. Y'all see me? All them little horrible jokes y'all came up with when I was a child growing up. Anyway, good morning. Don't worry about a thing. Bob Marley was right. He was right. Don't worry about a thing. It's always things, y'all. It's always a thing. It's always a thing. Don't worry about a thing. It'll shut down your immune system and it'll give you the cuckoo flu. Good morning. Good morning. Christine and Tony. Some things make folks wear masks. Yes, they do. Well, they're not masks, Maria Rochelle. Danielle changed that. She said they are face diapers, and I'm sticking with that. She didn't copyright it, and I'm giving her the credit for it. But from now on, I'm going to call them face diapers, because that's exactly what I feel like. Government paddled me on my behind on that television and told me I need to go out, and when I go in the store, I got to put on a face diaper. But I only put them on when I go in the store. And I put it on, I feel stupid. How y'all feel when y'all put these face diapers on? Does that make you feel smart? Does that make you feel intelligent? Does it make you feel like there's always like this social thing. Now we talked about yesterday, people go to protest so they can have an Instagram picture. So they can get that social credit. Oh, remember how we talked about that? Social credit? Because it's coming. It's coming. It's already here. It's just not digital yet, right? Like that is a social credit. Right? When you see other people and they got their masks and they got their masks too, and you got these people out here running and jogging in these N95 masks. I'm smart. I watch the news. I'm smart. I'm not going to get sick. I'm watching the news. I'm sorry. I will joke about the N95 people jogging every daggone day. I am not going to joke about people who have autoimmune conditions and the elderly. I understand. You got some diseases and illnesses and things you need to work on. Then yeah, you get your mask. Do not wear no N95. Do not do that, because even now the CDC and the WHO are backing down on that. Don't wear that. That'll get you. First of all, it's medical equipment. I have a friend in the medical industry. Y'all tell me, because a bunch of y'all here in the medical industry. What she told me, she said that before I can wear an N95 mask, I have to sign a disclaimer that is 2 pages long. 2 pages long. And I was thinking about that. I said, damn it, yeah, that almost sounds like that's medical equipment that you got to be trained to know how to use this thing. And then the image pops in my head about this dude that I see jogging out there in an N95. We're so stupid. We're so stupid. People, do not wear medical equipment and you ain't trained to wear it. Do not listen to the TV. The TV will make you stupid. Once again, they're worried about warriors and they're worried about the wise together. They ain't worried about you. You can jog all you want. If you stupid, you good to go. They can say anything they want to say. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Amy. The other thing, I was listening to Joe Rogan say, Hotep Jesus. Do y'all know him? Did anybody say anything? He sounds like an interesting cat. I disagree with a couple things he said, but something else Rogan said to him. He said, never in history, I gotta be careful because this one gets me in trouble, but y'all, I was chubby. Okay? I was chubby, and throughout my life, I've gone through phases where I could barely see my feet. I've done that, all right? So he said, never in history were people ever this fat, ever this overweight. Right? Because usually food costs money. You got to have food to have money, or if you're farming, you're thin, whatever, but you're eating real food. And he just said, yeah, it's obvious evidence that the food is garbage. The food is garbage. It's not even food, it's garbage. And I was like, man, that is so deep. I had to post that too. I'm sure that'll get me in trouble. But he's speaking the truth. He's speaking the truth, right? They want to make us lazy. They want to make us sit on our butt and be sedentary. They don't want our immune systems to work. They feed us trash and garbage. We call it food. And then they tell us that it's our fault. That's what they told me. That's all. Oh, yeah, well, you big. That's you. You big boned it. You big boned it. There was something wrong with your thyroid or something. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. You sure that it's me? You sure it's me? It ain't the Twinkies. It's me. It's not the McDonald's food. It's me. It's not the bread. It's not the Frankenwheat. It's me. No, it's corporations and greed. We should start a mass lawsuit. Tiana, I already agree with you. I have not read the whole comment. We should start a mass lawsuit for the cuckoo virus lie. Yes, we should, Tiana. Yes, we should, globally. There needs to be a whole global democide over. They say about they're thinking like now 1 million people might have died from the shutdown, the global shutdown. To me, once again, that's a crime. We absolutely should. I'd be behind that all day long. N95 takes a lengthy, ridiculous fit test to be effective. Oh wow, does it, Rebecca? That's crazy. That's just crazy. I don't even know why they sell those in public. I don't even know what. That's crazy. They should be behind the counter drugs. That makes no damn sense. That's medical equipment, and people are stupid. Unfortunately, we're warriors, but we're not wise. You do not appear dark to me. Oh, thank you, Miss Tree. Yeah, no, I know my skin color because I look in the mirror all the time, and I have a little darkness. And when I was going like this, I couldn't see barely see my eyes, so I just wanted to lighten it up just a little bit. Like a sheep. Yes, Kentucky Fried Mama. We need to stop being sheep. Dookie heads. Miss Tree, what are you talking about? Are you talking about yesterday? You said racism. Oh, I don't want to talk about racism. I don't even want to talk about it. But listen, you calling people racist, you just might as well call them dookie heads in terms of solutions. It actually doesn't. It's not going to help at all. Why are people racist? People are racist because, I don't know, somebody teach them. They're born poor and somebody tells them that this people did it to you. They don't like you for some reason. Somebody hurt you and they look like you. They had your skin color, had your bald head, drove that type of car, lived in a house, had a B&B. People hate you for all kinds of things. I think if you want to fix racism, then you take away the reason why they don't like you. You go love on them. You go show them you're a decent person. Somebody who looked like you for whatever reason, whether it's a woman, a man, a British person, a Chinese person, somebody did them wrong, or somebody lied to them and said all of y'all are some way. And so you go be nice to them and show them that that's not who you are. And then it goes away. It disappears just like a poof. It literally goes away just like that. It's a fantasy construct and it's based in ignorance. And you can fight that ignorance. You don't fight it with Sharpie signs and getting in the street, yelling and screaming, making people scared of you. That's how you grow it. That's why your leaders have people. That's why the leaders out there have people doing that. They want to make racism more of a problem. Why? Because they need it. We have a conflict-based system. As long as, because this is why I don't want to talk about racism, because it's not a thing. It's not a thing to me. It's just people want to hate you. If you have a conflict-based society, that's how the economy works. That's how they make a GDP. That's how they get people on this side and not people on that side, so they can always do a corporation say, and not you. You're always going to have isms. So the racism in life's not a thing. You know how to get rid of it. We just don't want to do it. That's why I'm not in the struggle. It's not a struggle to me. It's a fake struggle. It's a fuggle. I'm not interested in the fuggle. Make it go away. Go love people. Show them how kind you are. Show them you give a damn. And it goes away. Jesus told you that. Buddha told you that. Shiva told you that. Natural law tell you that. I'm not telling you that. You know this. You just don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept it because it's not popular. But like I said, if we're not like I said, ooh, like Hotep Jesus. I don't even know this dude. I might follow him on Instagram. Hotep Jesus said. He said, once you go mainstream, what are we talking about? They were talking about the hip hop, underground hip hop. There's always an underground, right? He said, but once you go mainstream, you sold out. And that's my generation. I was raised to believe that. Like, once you go mainstream, once you get big and popular, you sold out. Is Antifa popular? Is Black Lives Matter popular? Are the skinheads popular? Is white nationalism popular? Yeah, okay. Are Democrats popular? Mm-hmm. Republicans, they popular? Okay. Is it popular to cheer Obama? You get credit, social credit with the black people? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. And then Trump, same damn thing. Somebody posted, who the hell posted this? Remember that? What was the movie where not Johnny Depp, what's it, Tom Cruise? He's like, show me the money. Show me the money. Oh, Christ did that one. Y'all see the meme where she's like, I love black people. I love, see. That's just hilarious to me. Because if you make it popular, you know, you sold out. Sold out. You get that social credit. But what he said once it becomes mainstream, you know it's sold out. Once it becomes mainstream, you know they control it. You are, the way he put it, and I don't like the cusp, that's why I put an O in this one. He said once you become popular, you're their biatch. And everybody I know says that that's true. Everybody I know in the music industry, the people I know in Hollywood, and people in government, they all say it. Say, yo, once you go mainstream, that's it. You are their biatch. You will do what the system requires you to do, which is to make the people stupid. You lose your voice over your thought, your creativity, your copyrights, everything. Everything mainstream is foul. Don't be mainstream. If you ever see me go mainstream, you know I sold out. I sold all. People ask me, say, oh, you should be on TV. I was like, first of all, you've got a really sad, you need some things to do in life. I just sit here and talk junk all day and listen to my friends. But yeah, no, you see me on television. You have Fox News hires me, or CNN, or ABC, CBS. You need to go watch Tony or Melissa, Chris, somebody. Don't watch me because I hadn't sold out. You ever go mainstream, it means that you are their biatch, right? Which is why you got to be a minimalist to a degree. To a degree, you got to be a minimalist. If you actually fighting the power, you don't have none of their power. You ain't gonna like this message next, because this hits the McMansion people. Y'all driving these nice cars. Once you buy into their lifestyle, you are their biatch. Why? Because you need them for your food, you need them for your water, you need them for everything. If you aren't self-sufficient, if you don't have a garden of Eden somewhere around you, you can take care of yourself, then you will do everything the Caesar wants you to do. And then this what this lady did to the big man, this man did the warrior. That's the mountain, that's a big dude. She made him his biatch. And it doesn't matter how big he is. That's why I said muscles don't matter. You can be a warrior all you want. If you ain't wise, the system's going to use you and control you. One of those Scientology films. What are y'all talking about there, Brother Hunter? Good morning, Hunter. Once you follow the crowd, you go no further than the crowd. Ooh, time to reevaluate when you're part of any crowd. Yes, Treasure. Oh, that's deep. That's deep. And that makes a lot of sense too. If you're following the crowd, you can't walk in front of it. Only one person gets to walk in front of it, and usually that person is the sellout. That's the person at the end of their speech, they're gonna tell you, get out there and vote. That's the sellout. That's the person that's controlling you, keeping you weak. They're the person that's a part of the system that ain't never gonna fight the system. Ain't never gonna. I know y'all don't like it, but, and I'm not saying all your speakers. Every now and then you might get a speaker on stage that's fighting the system, but they're not gonna speak again. And you see them speak once, that's it. They're not gonna invite them back to your protest. All right? Everybody sells out that's on that stage. That's how the system works. If you ever become a warrior and you're wise, they ban you. They ban you. That's just how the system works. But that's a good point. Like, you will never walk in front of the crowd. If you're a follower, you're just going to keep following. I always go back to that point. People say, oh, do you follow Gerard? You should follow Gerard. No, you should not follow Gerard. You shouldn't follow Gerard. I told y'all the tree story. Once a week, at least, sometimes twice a week, I do something so stupid, it reminds me that I can't let my ego go nowhere. Nowhere. I almost died last week. I told you that during the storm. It wasn't during the storm. No, it was after the storm. I thought I was the mountain. I thought I was He-Man. It was a tree that needed to fall down. I was going to help it fall. But trees, when they fall, they don't care where you at. Sometimes they look for you and they want to fall on. This was almost my last video. Now, I always do something stupid. I'm just one dude. I'm one dude. But yeah, don't follow me. You need to lead yourself. Sarah, you need to lead yourself. Matthew, Jasmine, Dunn, Lynette, and Christine. You know you better than I know you. Ain't nobody walked in your shoes. Nobody knows your experience. And nobody, you're not going to like this, but nobody will ever have your back as much as you will have your back. Okay? Don't follow nobody. You follow people. And here's another reason why to follow people. If you follow them, you break them. Who's that? Jonathan Close? If I follow Jonathan Close, I'm going to break Jonathan. You know why? Because if I'm following Jonathan, Jonathan Close isn't a Jonathan Close. Jonathan Close will be a Jonathan Close +1. I don't want to be his +1. I don't want to be a +1. Jonathan will be broken at that point. Now, Jonathan feels he has a sense of authority. And that's bad. The minute you give me a sense of authority, I'm useless to you. right? It's like I'll post stuff and people they misunderstand it. Like I'll post something, they're like, oh, well, you think you're better. No, actually, I don't. Oh, you don't think you're feeding into the system. Oh, I say it every damn day. If you are breathing on Earth, you are colluding with the system. If you were in America, you were colluding with the elite. You're colluding with the billionaires because they designed the system that way. You can't walk away from the system completely. All you can do is pick and choose where you walk away, where it's comfortable for you. And then I'd say, hey, well, walk away as hard as possible. If anything, I try to inspire people. Like, listen, yeah, I'm a minimalist. And I'll give that story. It's not an ego thing. It's a thing of, look, you know what I realized? I didn't need all the fast cars. I didn't need the luxury. I didn't need to brag about my vacations. I didn't need all this money in the account. All I need to do was rediscover nature, rediscover the things that made us happy, right? Minimalists are the #1 terrorists to this system, right? That's why they go after the people who live off grid. They're criminalized. Why? Because they're not feeding into consumerism. They're not feeding into slavery. People got Nikes at the protest with gold chains and Gucci Amarada shirts and driving up, parking them nice cars. Oh, they feed into this. They love slavery. They love slavery. But they don't understand how the system works. So all you can do is try to inspire people, but they're good people. Most people are good people. They're good people. They just don't see it. That used to be me. I didn't see through it. I didn't see through the system. Once you see the matrix code, you can't unsee it. Good morning, Jesse. Good morning, Sarah Freehills. Good morning, Courtney. But like I said, you got to be a warrior and you got to be wise, right? Antifa say, yeah, well, they're bad people. No, actually, they're not. They're actually warriors. They're out there doing something. They're out there facing off with the most violent government the world has ever seen. They're warriors. Oh, not all of them, but a lot of them. Black Lives Matter, a lot of them warriors, just like these prayer boys, just like the skinheads and everybody who stands up to the system. I don't think they're as wise as they should be, but they're definitely warriors, right? Now, if we can sync that up with the people who are doing research here on the internet, online, reading laws and trying to figure out why the system's screwed. And then what you have to do, which is hard, I haven't figured out how to do this, is you talk to them, right? You have to figure out how to talk to them or post with them, but show them that they're actually a part of the problem. They're not a part of the solution. That's how, if you're sitting at home, you're actually part of the problem as well. But you're getting wise, and you take your wise and help the people that got the warrior thing going on and redirect this thing. Man, great things can happen. We don't have to worry about a thing. We are in a great place. We are in a great place if we could see through the play. If we could see through the play. Everything's bigger in Texas. Maria, is that true? Well, in Texas, is that where they took over the street? No, hell no, that ain't Texas. No, it's not in Texas. Yeah, they took over a street somewhere. Antifa, somebody took over a street and they posted guards and got their own police. Did y'all see that post? Is that fake news or is that real and true? It's not in Texas, I can promise you that, because you got grandmamas in Texas with 6 shooters and shotguns just waiting. I'm hot on the range. I got my dead eye and I just needed time to use it. I guarantee that ain't Texas. Everything is bigger in Texas, could be. But somewhere they took over a town, got their own police in the middle of a city, a few blocks or something like that. And if that's true, it doesn't really matter. They're not scared of you. They're not scared of you. They literally are not scared of you. They don't care. They don't care. These are the most violent people in the world. You can take over all the city blocks you want. You could burn down the entire United States and they actually wouldn't care. They don't care. They got insurance. They print the money. They got slaves all over this world globally. They'll rebuild it and laugh at you. They don't care. If you want to hit the global elite, hit them where it hurts. Figure out where they're preventing you from hitting them. Figure out who they go after the most. If they're not going after you, then they don't really care that much. That's what you do. And sometimes I got my theories, but you need to look at where they're bothered by what you're doing. They're not bothered by you burning down cities. They don't care nothing about that. And these are the most violent people in the world. If you do something that affects them, they'll come for you. Like the Occupy mode, they'll come for you. If you actually are affecting change, if you are effective at being a warrior and being wise, they'll come for you. They destroy entire nations. They got tanks and AK-47 and trained soldiers. Like, people aren't scared of you. You're not bothering them with violence. They have a monopoly on violence. They know what they're doing and they love to use it. They're just not doing anything because you obviously are fitting into their plan. you're fitting into their works. This whole defund the police thing. Did y'all? I watched another Rogan yesterday. Who's the big brother that was on Rogan a few days ago? He was Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia, 7 years in a row. Big, massive dude. He used to be a cop. And I was listening to him talk. He gave a great perspective. We can listen to that if y'all want to. He was talking about being a black cop in Texas. Actually, he was in Texas somewhere. I think, no, Louisiana. And he just gave his insider opinion. He's dark as I am. He said, no, police are good people, most of them, but every now and then, yeah, things happen. You get bad apples everywhere. There was a point I was making. Something he said that I have to start making notes. I got to start writing stuff down. Does anybody know his name? Nobody posted his name. I forgot the name of the big brother. He had a great talk. I have to post it, but I want to post a part about him talking about being a police officer, right? Oh, right. What is this thing called? Because they got the defund the police. That's what it is. Defund the police. Rogan asked him, said, "What do you think about defund the police?" And he said, "Oh, that's a bad idea." I said, "Yeah, it is a bad idea. It's a real bad idea. I don't know where I know where the ideas come from, but I don't know why people run with them. That's what they want you to do. If it's popular, it's what they want, right? They're just finding a reason to get rid of the police because they got some sympathy." I was thinking about in terms of corporate America, like that's where my mind goes because that's where I spent most of my life. In terms of a department, if a department gets defunded, what do you do as a manager? The first thing I do is like, well, damn it, the show got to go on. Like, John, I miss you, and Beaufont, I'm gonna miss you. Rebecca, appreciate your services, and Anna and Tiana. But we ain't gonna have the money, so y'all gonna have to go. But me, I still got a mortgage. I still got to pay bills. I got the wife at home and some kids. I got to pay my bills, so the show got to go on. Policing is not gonna stop if you defund the police. Everybody's expendable. All these police officers are all expendable, right? They have technology. They got the automation. They got the robots and the drones and RoboCops, and they're just waiting for. Because that's the first thing I would do in my departments. Like, all right, so we just got rid of 5 people. They're defunding the department. How do I make sure that things stay afloat when I get rid of these people? I'll look at automation, I'll look at software, I'll overwork the people that are already there. I told you I own slaves. I used to work in corporate America. I was a manager. I had me a bunch of slaves all over the planet. From Bangalore, India to Monterrey, Mexico. I had slaves I had a slave in Texas. Went by in Texas, this place called Sugarland. In fact, one of my slaves is a white dude with a PhD. He's actually on my friends list, Larry, down there in Sugarland. Never been to Sugarland. Anyway. And I don't have a PhD. My point was that no, I'll figure out a way to get rid of it. I'll figure out a way to keep the system going because I'm a part of the system. I'm a plantation owner. I need to keep the system going. I would just automate. Defunding the police ain't gonna do anything. They haven't changed the laws. The job still got to get done. It's still gonna get done. It's just you're gonna overwork the people that are left, and you're gonna use software and automation to replace the people that are gone. It's not going to stop them from beating you up in the street and taking you and throwing you in prison because you haven't dealt with the root problem. You got the why, you got the warrior, but you don't got the whys. You still think the problem is the police. You still got people yelling and screaming that the police is the problem. You still got people spray painting. I was in DC. They did that massive spray paint, the Black Lives Matter. And I keep telling you, no, they don't. They don't matter. If lies don't matter, none of your lives matter. This is a corporation, right? You got the warrior, but you don't have the whys. When you understand the root problem, then you can create a solution that's going to take the problem out. Until then, you're just a part of the system. You're doing what the system wants, which is why they're not doing anything about Seattle, somebody posted. That's why they're not doing anything about it. They don't care. And the business owners, the wealthy ones there, they don't care either. They got insurance on the building. Now, the poor business owners there, they probably got issues with that. The wealthy ones, they got insurance. They've been waiting to remodel for a minute. You just helping them. So yeah, they'll send you a pallet of bricks, put it right there out on the street. Know when you're being played. Always know when you're being played. You got to be a warrior and be wise. If you're healthy and strong, work on your brains. If you got the brains, you need to work on being healthy and strong. Stop eating garbage. Stop drinking poison water. Plant some seeds, grow some foods, make some smoothies so this wave 2 comes across. You don't have to worry about a thing. Until then, you got to worry about all the things. Make it all common knowledge and threat level drops. Oh, absolutely, Jack. If it's all common knowledge, then we become free. If it all becomes common knowledge, then they stop going after off-gridders. They don't have a single point of failure in your movement, right? They don't have an easy way to take you out. They always put these single points of failure in everything. That's how you break it. Another thing, Hotep Jesus, I keep messing his name up. I guess y'all never heard of this brother. Another thing he said, they're talking about social media and underground, right? Talking about how Facebook and Lori's in Facebook jail too. Sorry, sis. Hopefully she's here watching, or she's working. But social media. Oh, they got to stop censoring. You know what the brother said? He said, well, you know, they do what they do. You know, I don't want a state-run social media. Do you? I certainly don't. We got one. I really don't want a corporate media run one either. But there's always been an underground. If it's popular on Facebook, then it's popular on YouTube and Google, then it's probably not the thing you should be doing. An example yesterday. Whose video I hadn't watched the brother, Maximus. Maximus did a video yesterday. And I know y'all don't watch him because he looks raggedy. He looks like a Rasta man. You know, he just let his head do what it does. He got that beard, you know, a good brother, smart brother. He was talking about a few things. He was on Harsh's channel, Harsh Med. He'll go live on Harsh. I was watching Brother Maximus yesterday. And every time I clicked the video, it took me to an Anomaly video. It was weird because Anomaly was playing, but I was hearing Maximus talking. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, why can't I click him like 5 times? Finally, I had to close out the Facebook app and come back in, and I could then watch the video. And it was interesting. It never happened to me before. And I was just like, why do they want me to watch Anomaly? And it triggered me. And I was thinking back to what Ty was talking about Anomaly, and that he's a sellout. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I know that he's popular. And I know that they don't let you get popular unless they own your message. Doesn't mean that you're 100% selling out, but it means that you are their biatch, and the system will get you to say what it needs you to say to keep in power. So I like Anomaly. I watch his videos, but that actually makes some sense to me. Like, why are they trying to channel me over to an Anomaly away from Harsh Med's channel? And Brother Maximus talking. Oh, he was talking about deep things. Deep things I don't even understand. He's a good brother. He's a good brother. He was talking about there's something that's connected, and I was driving, so I couldn't take notes if I wanted to. I was just listening. This is what I do when I drive. Sometimes I listen to music, but that'll get me speeding tickets. So most times I click on live streamers. I like independent voices and independent thought. I can pick up a lot of things from people who study things that aren't on TV. And he was saying there's a part of the brain that interfaces with all the sensories. All the sensors that go in your brain, right from your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your nose, your fingers, and all over your body, your stomach, it all ends up at one point in your brain, and then it goes to the rest of your conscious mind. I forgot the name of it, but I found that to be highly interesting. Single point of failure. Actually, what Brother Jack just posted about. When you got a single point of failure, it's easy to control people. When you got a pineal gland, easy to control people. When you got a movement with a leader, easy to control people. And being a systems engineer, I'm not at the protest for the main reason that I'm a systems engineer. I understand single point of failure. I know that it's not going to work. As long as you got a single point of failure, they can fail that single point. And usually that's your speakers, and that's why at the end of all their speeches, they say, get out there and go vote. I don't think you're going to see too many systems engineers at the protest because they know that systems with a single point of failure will always be failed, that they literally create systems that have a single point of failure to fail them. Right, the NIC cards in your laptop and your cell phone, right? You have these things, and you have an internet with servers because, and not the the web, the multi-connected web where you can connect all the cell phones together and create your own internet. You can connect all the houses together and create all your own internet. Some parts of Europe got that, in America too. I forgot the name of it. Somebody can post it. They don't like that. They don't want that. They can't control that. They can control you if you were communicating with other people all on one device, if you're communicating with everybody on one social media. They don't want an interconnected web, single points of failure. As long as you got a single point of failure, it's going to be failed. Or that person is just killed. It's that simple. The revolution will not be televised. No Kentucky Fried Mama. The revolution has to be in your own head, in your own body. The revolution can't be televised. If it's televised, it's not a revolution. It's a fake revolution. It's a fevolution. Do not watch TV. It's just designed to control you. You have to revolt in your own body. You have to go towards consciousness. This is why you got all these people here talking about consciousness all the time. I know you think they're crazy, but these people aren't crazy. They understand that we aren't what we think we are, right? When I say that we are one people, we're not Americans, we're not Democrats or Republicans or Britannicans or Australians, or we Vaginicans. We all came from a creator, mama. All the mamas, all the creators that we completely don't respect. And I think there's a reason why we don't respect them. I think there's a reason why every society hates women, all their laws. And they always make them a second-class citizen. I'm not going to agree with anybody that says that women are equal anywhere, because they're not. But there's a reason why. But outside that, that's the monkey portion, right? That's the 98% monkey vehicle. Outside of that, we are wave energy, right? We do come from some conscious one source soul, heaven, spirit, soul, something like that. And that's a part of this. And that's where the revolution has to be. The revolution has to be in you, right? It's like Sister Sarah Sabinana said, love is popular. Love is... I can't agree, sis. I'm not going to, let me think about it. It is. I mean, love is popular. It's just covered up and it's selective, right? Love is allowed to be popular as long as it's not universal, right? If it's universal love for everybody, for everybody's kids, then it's not going to be popular. It's not about, when love for everybody's kids is popular, then good things are going to happen. So love is popular in terms of it's in everybody, but they make it selective. Like goodness, once again, I'll go back to this Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, whatever. They all should matter, but none of them do. I'm so done with them, Sarah. I'm so done with the name and the philosophy and the argument. Because when you say something, people are like, well, yeah, but we got to take care of us first. We got to take care of us first. We got us first. And is they killing more of us than anybody else in percentage, right? Not in numbers, in percentage. They're killing more of us. And the problem I have with that, now that I've fully thought it out, and when did they formalize? Like 6 years ago, and they got that $100 billion from that psychopathic billionaire George Soros, and now the Democrat Party's with them. The argument is a fallacy, and it's foolish, and it's ignorant. When you got love for every last child, because they're piling up the white bodies, the kids, the youth, they're piling up the white bodies with the black bodies. And anybody who tells you to prioritize the white bodies or the black bodies that the system is piling up together is a fool, an ignorant fool who I used to be years ago, long time ago, because I was indoctrinated to be till I grew up. There's somebody that's just selling you racism. There's somebody that's selling you selectivism. It's somebody that's going along with a popular narrative because they don't want to fix anything, right? They're people who are passionate. They're warriors, but they're not wise, right? They're warriors, but they're not wise. They're playing checkers and not playing chess. And they don't understand how this system is designed to play you against other people. And the minute that you say that to a white mom whose baby was killed, murdered, or thrown in slavery prison next to your baby, right? Because they bury them together and they throw them in slavery together, throw them in that mass incarceration prison together, and they put their bodies together. The bodies ain't lost. All the white babies in that cemetery with the prison. They put them all together. The only one that's lost is you. You don't seem to realize you don't have the wisdom. You got the warrior passion, but you don't have the wise to realize that that's how the system keeps you oppressed. The minute that you step up and say, oh yeah, all lives matter. I don't even like the name All Lives Matter, to be honest with you, because I don't think all lives matter. But they should. But when love is just love, Sarah, and love is popular for every single baby, everybody, that's how you really break down hate. I remember the one time that I know of that I broke down hate. I told you I was out there protesting for children's rights. And I ran into a dude who was, I don't know if he was Klan or white nationalist, he never told me. But this is back in the MySpace days, and I saw the brothers he ran with, and I saw some of his old posts, and I know that he did not like no black skin at all. And but we were out there protesting. It was protests I put together down the street in front of the courthouse. And and I was just telling him, because I really know who he was from paint. I was just like, yeah, man, well, we got to do this for the kids. We have to do this for the kids. It doesn't matter the color of the kids. Like, children deserve their parents. Children deserve their grandparents. They're born on this planet or in this country or planet, and they're born under a certain trust that we, the adults, are going to look out for them. We, the adults, aren't going to judge them. We're not going to look at their skin and say, no, we're going to do the other babies first because they got brown skin, you know, or they got yellow skin, or they got white skin. No, there's a baby born as a trust, a tribe, a human tribe, a tribe of vagina kids. Y'all don't like that name. Wombakins. A tribe of Wombakins. We're going to look out for every baby that's born here. They should just be born here and not have any problems. They shouldn't have to be worried about black people turned against them because they got the wrong skin. They shouldn't be worried about white people turned against them because they got the wrong skin. You know, when love is popular, Sarah, all this stuff is going to go away. That's what I'm saying, wise, right? We've been told this. It's not something I'm saying. The minute that you got universal love for everybody and you act on it, not just know it, but actually act on it, the whole system collapses. It's just a system. It needs you to be apathetic and bigoted. It needs to popularize racism, and it does. You know, and it's just right now, what's popular is anti-white racism. It's just popular, right? And you have to see through it. You have to fight it at a principle level. When you fight racism at a principle level, when you fight ignorance at a principle level, great things happen. Oh, Susan Jewell, I got something I need to say to you. The hardest walk is to walk alone, but it's the walk you will learn from the most. Absolutely. Being a little bit of a hermit, Susan, I am a little bit of a hermit. I walk alone a lot. Y'all know I'm not interested in grouping up with any of y'all monkeys. Hey, we got this new group, Gerard. Okay, y'all luck with that. I don't do group thing. I always walk alone. And I disagree with everybody on the thread, and I admit when I'm wrong. And I think that's the best way that I can be to try to become a better person. What did he say, Susan? Hotep said something made me think of you. You and Graham Hancock. What did Hotep say? Hotep Jesus said that most black people, most slaves didn't come from Africa, that they were already in North America when we got here. Did y'all see somebody laughing? He said that, and I was just, I know, okay, brother, I get it. You know, you Hotep Jesus, and you got your narrative, and I know you got your belief system. And in history, he wasn't wrong. History is always a lie. His story, they always lied to us. You need to accept that they always lied to us. But, you know, I was just like, you know, yeah, it could have been some black people. I mean, there are stories that I recall. There were Native American stories that there was some black, darker tribes. There were darker tribes. We know the Africans were here because of the, what's the name of the heads? The big, massive heads that they found all over North America and South America. Not the mound builders. They suspected that they were. The heads with the nose and the lips. That'll get you in trouble too. It's just body parts, y'all. Don't lose yourself over that. Olmecs, the Olmecs head, right? They found the Olmec heads all over. So yeah, I'm sure there were Africans here. There were Asian people here. The Chinese were here. The treasure junks, they were here before Columbus. But an interesting thing that came out of that theory that I don't really agree with, I think that, yeah, they probably found some brown people here, dark colored, Asian looking, mostly Native American, yeah. But they brought, 500,000 people from Africa. And what would the manifest where it said 10.7 million slaves were taken from Africa all over the world. I found it interesting that they only brought 500,000 here. But it makes sense that, well, why did it end up being millions, which is still a lot less than your modern prison system, by the way. So let's not, let's not get confused. We still imprison more brown and white bodies today than they did during slavery. And we make them cut grass and get out there and work in the kitchen and make license plates and solar panels. Slavery never stopped. It just became all inclusive for everybody. Because we picked and choose which people we let the system abuse. But I found it interesting. We call it the American slave trade. It's like, it was not the American slave trade, not even close. You know, you brought them over and you bred them. However, most of them went around all over the world, right? What is that percentage? That's a very small percentage actually came to America. But slavery is as old as we are, right? We've been seeking to enslave each other for the longest time. We still got it going today. We just don't fight slavery on a principle perspective, and that's why it's still here. That's why it's not going to go anywhere until we learn to fight it at a principle perspective. And to me, how do you fight slavery at a principle? Is you just ask yourself, well, what is a slave? Well, a slave is when I can tell somebody what to do, right? I can abuse, who is it, Veronica? Hey, Veronica Poole. is when I can abuse you and I can make Veronica do things Veronica doesn't want to do. Thank you for sharing your powerful perspective, Dre. Thank you so much, sister. Um, if I can make Veronica do something she doesn't want to do, if I can compel her through violating, right? Hooking up shackles to her or making sure she can't have land, food, water, or a life unless she does what I tell her to do. To me, that's slavery, that's abuse. I can make her to go to preschool and get the cookies and milk at lunch and pick up a trade going through middle school and high school. Tell her that math, science, and English are the most important things because I need her to work for my corporations and my friends' corporations because I own central banking, and make her get a degree. It's called forced labor. Forced labor. That's slavery. That is that's literal slavery, still at the principal level. If you're not fighting slavery at the principal level, you're not fighting. Right? Veronica Poole needs to be born on the earth like, hey, goo gaga. And she figure out what she wants to do, right? That she can get her own ecosystem and go live what she wants. Like the idea that we use school system and indoctrination to force her to do something. It's no different than slavery. That's the same thing as getting in a boat, going to grab her, dragging her over here and putting her on a cotton plantation or a rubber plantation in Vietnam. It's no different. You're just using compulsion. It's still slavery. We don't fight slavery at a principal perspective, right? So that's why I'm not interested. You know, we got to get back to normal. No, we actually don't. Normal sucked. And the new normal sucks too. We need a paradigm shift. You know, and I think part of that is ecosystem. Like, you know, nobody can own the ecosystem. Like we talked about, you know, warrior and wise. Well, what do they want? You're a warrior on the street, but they don't mind if you're on the street. They don't give two damns, right? All they care about is if you're wise enough to figure out, to me, that they want the water, the food, and the land. Because if you control the water, the food, and land, I can make Veronica Poole do anything I want her to do. I can control her and her kids, and I can make her teach her kids to embrace my economic slavery. I print the money, I can do anything I want to do. I own the land, right? You get wise enough to say, no, I don't want Seattle. We need to break up the ecosystem and give it back to the things that need the ecosystem. Then you got to fight. Then they're going to come for you. Why? Because that's all they've ever wanted is the resources, the land, the water, the food, enslaved, you know, that are controlled by it. Right? Now, y'all know me. I don't believe in this perspective that we should own land. I disagree with it. I disagree with it. The Native Americans didn't own land. A lot of the Africans didn't own land. A lot of people throughout the Middle East didn't own land. And most of the European barbaric tribes didn't own land. They traveled. They followed the food, right? Wherever there was life where they could thrive, that's where they went. Wherever the water was fresh and the buffalo ran, and the food grew, the winter came, they went south. They all were agrarian lifestyle, right? They didn't believe in owning land. And so, who was I? I think I was talking to Brother Jason and somebody else on the thread this morning. It's about when the Europeans came to North America, they brought that concept of owning land. Said, yeah, they ran into a wiser group of people. They were warriors, they had guns and bullets, but they were not wise, right? We don't own land. We don't own the Garden of Eden. We don't own ecosystems. It's for everybody to share. But it's not a reason to hate the Europeans, right? You know, the reason they brought that philosophy here is because you had civilizations over there that had hundreds of thousands of people, right? And a king. And what did the king want? The king created the reality. The king own the mainstream media. And the king said, yeah, owning land is a good idea. It's a good idea to own land so the fish ain't got nothing, the biology, the deer, the other humans don't have no land. It's a good idea to own something that all the life that supports our life needs. And we die if we don't share it. Right. So I just think they just ran into a wiser population. Doesn't mean the Native Americans were better. I just think they were smaller. I think the smaller you are, the smaller your group is, probably the wiser it can be. The bigger it is, the less wise it's going to be. And they were more attached to sharing the land. If I'm here right now, I'm stewarding it, I'm using it, I'm sharing it. Got to kill some things on it, eat some things, whatever, grow some things. And when the land is not good to do that, I'm going to go somewhere else and I'm going to let somebody else use it. You know, I think when you start speaking revolutionary things, that's when change is going to occur. But as long as you want to be the slave owner, you want to be the land owner, you just want to take over the system, which is what the politics is, right? The parlor tricks. You know, they're always behind all the popular movements because as soon as you start getting something going, the politics takes it over. And all that is a rob Peter to pay Paul sociopathic strategy that I'm right. I'm going to force you to do what I think you should be doing because now I get to write the laws and the police state's behind me. I'm not interested in that concept of slavery. Absolutely. So, I forgot who said that. Love is popular. Yeah, when you make love popular, amazing things are going to happen when you make love, unselective love, popular. Is that called agape love? There are a lot of different types of love. They say the English language only has one word for love, but there were some cultures that had hundreds of words for the word, for meaning in the act of love. When you truly have love in your heart, then you can't turn a blind eye to white babies that are being piled up by the police state. You can't turn your eye to brown babies, and you can't turn your eye to how they abuse the immigrants. The consistent message there is that they're going to abuse somebody. As long as you get behind these leaders, they're going to abuse somebody. And that blood is on your hands. I don't want that blood on my hands. I think I have getting close to what's total love. I look out for everybody best that I can. I see people being abused. I'm not going to line up behind somebody looking to abuse you. And I think when you do that, you then look at the police state differently, right? Like right now, if you're selective, you see the police. When you have love across the board, you see the state. And I think that's the difference. And I think the folks who get it and the ones who don't get it, they just see the police. They think the police need training. And it's not really the police. It's actually just the state. They don't care who they abuse, but they're going to abuse somebody. They're going to abuse somebody. As long as you agree that the police need training and the police are the problem, then nothing's going to ever change because you don't see the state. You just want them to stop abusing your people and abuse other people. But as long as the laws are abusive and unconstitutional, somebody's going to get it. Hey, Emma, good morning. Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Myra. Good morning, Jennifer. Lucy Strong on the farm. Hello, all beautiful day. Good morning, Brother Jack. Good morning. Let me see. Kill a zillion buffalo. Yes, Jack, and that's what they always do. They're always killing buffalo. The bigger the tribe got, the more buffalo they kill. And actually, it works that way too, right? Because not all the Native Americans were wise. I mean, my ancestors were Cherokee, but portion of my ancestors, my other portion was British, my other portion was Irish, and I have some African and another line that people stopped at. But anytime that tribe gets big enough, or that civilization gets big enough, there's a correlation, Jack, I think, between the size of the civilization and the ignorance. The bigger it gets, the more power it has, the more ignorant it becomes. What's that saying? Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the bigger they got, the worse they got. It's like the Comanche. The Comanche were colonizers, right? They weren't at first. Not before they got, what did the Comanche get? They were in South America, or close to South America, and the Spanish brought and gave them horses. And so they used those horses and they took over most of North America. And they just started murdering like you wouldn't believe. That's why it's never about the skin. It's never about the place you're from. It's just about how big you are, because how much power you have. The more power you have, the more you want to abuse. When we stop trying to use our power to abuse people is when we stop believing in power. Stop buying and stop consuming. And that's an answer, Amy. It's an absolute answer. Not everybody can do it. Some people still got that addiction. They got to slowly walk themselves out. But as long as you buy from the abusers, you work for the abusers, and you vote for the abusers' political parties, and you vote for the system, you consent to the system, abuse is going to occur. Poison blankets. Yeah, Jack. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, poison blankets to me is no different than bioweapons, right? This is a bioweapon, the cuckoo virus, right? As long as you allow these things to exist and we vote for, cheer for, and consent to a government using these things, they're always going to come back and be used against us. But you got to be a warrior and you got to be wise. You got to be both. You got to be both. When you stand up for everybody. A lot of my friends are conservative people, and they still got a problem with LGBT and Q. And I'm just like, hey, listen, you need to be a warrior and you need to be wise. If you say that everything God made is perfect, and God made a man that likes a man, or a woman that likes a woman, and guess what? They're perfect. Besides the fact you can't, what is that scripture says something about you can't judge somebody for the sawdust in their eye, for the log in your eye. And I just sit back. This is why I'm not a part of anybody's group. I can't do groups no more. Because you just got everybody's out there looking to abuse each other. And to me, I think it's psychopathic and it's crazy and it's sociopathic. The idea of grouping up with people to fight other people to make them be like you, I think is insanity. I think we're all different. And it's our different that makes life interesting. Like think about this planet. If we didn't have all these different crazy, cuckoo, nutty, different perspectives, life would suck. Like that's what brings what's interesting to life is all the different, the spice of life is people who are different from you. That's what's interesting. If everybody was like me, it would be boring. It's like, go and kill me now. I already know me. I know what I do and I know what I like. And I know, I've grew up with me. It's difference that brings different perspectives. It's the spice of life. It's different people. We need to embrace difference. Lauren, Alexis Pritchard needs to stop coming on Gerard's cast. I like both equally. Huh? Needs to stop coming on during. Oh, she on Hunter. Yeah, Lauren is one. She's got her perspectives too. She's very different. You join her cast, she talks about different things. There are things that we both talk about. But it's a good thing, Hunter. It is a great thing. The more people that are live streaming, the better. Jonathan Close did a live stream. The first one I saw he did yesterday. He read some poetry. You don't have to come out here and talk about the news or whatever, but wherever you are, whoever you are, you should be sharing that with us. I know y'all don't like to. I keep telling you should live stream, but we need to know you. We need to know who you are. We need to know what you love. The more people see your perspective, your lifestyle, the things you love, the things you don't, you sharing your art, your whatever you do with people, the better. I mean, that's what social media is for, is to be social. So it's a good thing. We need more people live streaming than TV shows. When you got more people live streaming, just giving their perspectives live, having a conversation with people, the less one-way nonsense, the better. TV needs to die. TV needs to go away. TV is censorship by its model. It's one person talking at you instead of having a conversation. The reason why I love this is no matter what I say, I got a couple thousand people critiquing it, a couple hundred, a couple dozen, and they'll go back critique videos from 2 years ago. I get them pop-ups. I was like, oh Lord, they watching my old videos. I don't agree nothing with that dude from a year ago. I probably 80% of what he said is stupid. This is an evolving thing. Good morning, Stephanie. Exactly. Keep them screaming about effects. Yes. Well, you know what, Stephanie? They keep people running around yelling about side effects and not root problems. I'd like to focus on the root problems. We should care about each other's lives. Everything will be fine. That's it, Christine. And that's why it's easy. There are no hard problems in the world, Christine wins. There are no hard problems. Every problem, there is no problem that you got to make your Sharpie sign and get out there and fight the machine. The machine wants you to fight, and it wants you to buy Sharpies, and it wants you to buy its paper. There are no hard problems. It's just a system. All you got to do is stop believing. That's what the system really fears the most, which is why the whole water, land thing and sharing the ecosystem comes up. Because what that is, I guess at the root, if you really think about it, it's just showing that you don't believe in an elite should own all the resources anymore. It's you showing that you don't actually believe. And that's what the system fears the most, is for you to stop believing in it. What is Cersei? That's Cersei, right? What does she fear the most? Is if the mountain stopped believing in her. The mountain stopped believing in her, the mountain would eat her. Right? When the people stopped believing in her, what happened? They stripped her bucket naked, and the church walked her through the street buck naked, and they was throwing food and poo-poo at her. That's all they wanted, the 0.01% fear. They don't fear you as a white nationalist and Black Lives Matter and Antifa and Christians and Muslims and straight people and LGBT and Q. They don't care about you in your groups. When you're in the group fighting other groups, you're a part of their system. When you show that you no longer believe in their system and you just want to share, you just want the ecosystem to go across, the first thing they'll say is communism, socialism. Yes, do that. And you say, no, I don't believe in communism and socialism. No, because I don't believe that you should delve out the resources. I don't think that you should divvy them out. I think everything should share the ecosystem. Everything should share the but again, so it's belief. This is why I was talking to Beaufont about this yesterday. It's a system. It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. It's a fantasy construct. It's like money. It only exists if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, it goes away. It's like TV. I'm not mad at TV. You don't need to fight TV. Just stop watching it. If you're mad at Fox News and CNN and ABC, NBS, stop sharing the link, stop watching it. The advertisers don't make money. They don't make money, stop advertising. Then magically it'll just be flu season and it won't be a new pandemic in Texas. That's how that works. Let me see. How big is their perimeter? Y'all talking about Seattle? Rebecca, I don't know because I don't watch the news and I don't read it. So I just, somebody shared it. Somebody shared it. In fact, the funny thing, that's another thing that Hotep Jesus said. That's a smart brother. He said that podcasters, this is the only reason that sometimes we seem like we're smarter than other people. It's not because we're smarter, it's because our news is filtered. Our news is filtered. If I read something from Jackie, it's because Jackie McMillan cares about it. She processed it, she pre-filtered it like a cigarette. You know, we're not taking in the straight tobacco and the poison and the toxins coming from the mainstream media. What I read and what I watch is filtered by Tiana, it's filtered by Beaufont, it's on his timeline, it's filtered by Jeannie, it's filtered by Jonathan, Christine, and Jackie and Hunter and Susan. And so it's got a pre-filter. That's, I think, how we're supposed to be. You're not supposed to have major corporations dictating the commercials and the things that get advertised to you. You're not supposed to have a global elite dictating what gets censored and what should be popularized through the television set. That's the biggest danger in social media is I don't think that they were prepared. I don't think they were prepared. But somebody just answered the question right there. Karen answered. She said that she did the research. 6 blocks per perimeter and occupying City Hall. Okay, well, you know what? That's interesting to me, Karen, because then it just makes me think about it like, wow, they really don't care about City Hall. And they don't care about them 6 blocks. I find that to be interesting. It's interesting. But I don't know those people's message. I thought I saw on a post that it had something to do with anarchical something. And I'm debating in my mind whether that is. I have to look at it, but I don't know. Most of what I see in the streets is democracy. I haven't seen any anarchy yet, like I said. Anarchy is a belief in sovereignty. It's a belief in no rules and everybody gets what they need and we're all sovereigns and we can't abuse each other. What I see in the mainstream media and if I understand Seattle, that's democracy, right? You just have a group of people that took over 6 blocks from the people that took over a whole nation and then the whole world, right? It's just more of the same. I don't think you need to take anything over. I just think you just need to walk away. Stop believing, stop buying, stop, buy local, buy from local people, right? That's what you do. You buy from your community, you build a community. You stop buying from international billionaires or cross-region millionaires, right? I think if you do that, the system collapses on its own. I don't think you have to take over 6 blocks. I think you just got to take over the block between your ears. You take over that 1 block. You don't need 6, just 1. Take over that 1 block. And everything goes right. But as long as you use force and violence, you're no different than what you took on. As long as you use racism to fight racism, then you might as well don't waste my time. Racism's going to win. I just don't believe force is a good thing. No, it's not force, it's violence, technically. That's violence. That's using a violent act to take over something violently from a violent group. And when the bigger violent group decides that your violence is a problem, they're going to use violence to just make you go away. It's my belief that the people who own America will burn up the entire city of Seattle if they feel like it. They don't really care about anybody in Seattle. They don't care about anybody in the United States. That's why we have shutdowns and we're coming in to shut down too. They don't give a damn. They only care about power and money. And when it benefits them, America as a owned commodity, like the 320 million owned commodities in America, they'll just burn the whole thing up. Its only usefulness is profit. And when it's profitable to burn America up, they'll burn it up. So part of one of my theories is, they need to flip the currency, right? The dollar lost all of its value and they needed some sort of a global event to shut everything down because to flip the world's reserve currency, it takes a little work. And plus the financial analysts have been saying this for almost 20 years now, that they needed to flip it. I think what they'll do is, yeah, but China's making headway is what some of my friends will say. I'll say, yeah, but the people who own America, they don't have any issue owning China. You can buy America and all the NATO allies, you can buy China too. That's assuming they don't already own it. All they got to do is shift the world's power over to China or Russia. They'll topple America for a little while and let America live in poverty for a little bit. It's what the kings always did. Anytime they needed an army, they just starved you into wanting coin. Right? As long as you were happy on your farm, you wouldn't go fight for them. So America just could be being starved, right? We are growing tired of war, right? We started listening to our veterans. You had a whole anti-war movement that started to crop up. We started believing again in the idea that we are supposed to be people of liberty and freedom, but these wars are not about that. So they need to break our spirit. And so you destroy our economy, you collapse us, break our spirit, let us be starving and poor for a good 10 years, punish us, and then all the Americans will fight any war you want. What poor people who are starving will do anything the king tells them to do. So they could just flip it to China and then flip it back here. These people don't care. And legally, you can look up the documents. They literally don't care. I mean, Ken Cousins did that 30 years of research to show you that all this goes back to a crown corporation. There's only one actual corporation. It's the Crown Corporation. And I think there are 3 departments underneath that. If I'm saying it right, correct me if I'm wrong. And then under that, you've got all the other corporations of the world and the nations, which are all beholden to that. And then they give the people the illusion of control. They give them the illusion that, yeah, that you manage yourself. And that's like the Matrix. That was one of the many matrices. So yeah, I said it's 6th block. They're arresting protesters, college students, and educated people, and sometimes powerful parents, while allowing looting a few blocks away. Not going to be pretty. Law-wise, intentional dismantling of the U.S. and mistreating. That makes sense. That would benefit them, right? You want to take, if you find anybody out on the street that's a warrior in the wise, you got to throw them in prison. You got to give them a prison record. You got to make them a felon. You got to make sure that you take their pot and you can abuse them in the future. You got to make sure you take away their ability to have a job. And that's the funny thing about this mystery. It's so obvious in everybody's face. Antifa, did they label them a terrorist organization yet? I thought they did after Charlottesville. I thought after Charlottesville, one of the acronym agencies labeled them and I guess the groups on the other side a terrorist organization, right? Like if you think about it right now, think about all the membership of Black Lives Matter and Antifa, right? Everybody who donated money, everybody who gave time, you just wanted to change the system, help things, you're passionate, but you excluded other people. You know what they do with terrorists in this country? You know that they got this place called Guantanamo. If they actually label that a terrorist organization, there was an article I saw that somebody was attaching it to ISIS. Do you know what they can do? I mean, don't get me wrong. They've always done these things to you. They've always done them. The scary thing, the only thing scary about today is they're now making public all the things that they've always done for a long time. Yeah. And it'll be interesting. But like I said, don't worry about a thing. I think all these things usually go the way they're supposed to. I think we're on the verge of an awakening. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt for a lot of people to wake up. But I think we're on the verge of awakening. We have too many ills in our society that are there at the core, at the bottom level that we need to undo. Lockdown 2, again, cuckoo. Yep, Christine is coming. They're starting it out in Texas. I posted the article this morning. They're saying the numbers are going up in Texas. I didn't read the article. I just read the headline. That's all I have to read nowadays. I read the headline just so I know what's going on. I don't want to know the news. I don't want that in my mental Rolodex. I'm not interested in what the kings and lords got to say. Yes, and this time people will get sick because the mass, months of breathing and CO2 and bacteria will lower your immune system. Well, Susan, I think there's a whole bunch of stuff to that, right? Well, one, people are in their house, they're eating all that frozen food, that stuff that's garbage, right? They're not getting out in the sun. They don't have any vitamin D. They've been rebreathing all their air in the mask that the nurses and the doctors now have been telling you you're trained to wear these things, that you shouldn't be actually wearing them. Even the CDC and the WHO, the vaccine companies, the international for-profit vaccine companies that told your government what to do, even now they're starting to admit that. So what is part 2? Part 2, yeah, a lot of people probably are going to get the flu. We didn't get herd immunity. They literally banned you from getting herd immunity. So what are you talking about? Well, there's no such thing as natural herd immunity. There's only herd immunity. Either you got it or you don't. And unfortunately, contrary to popular belief, you don't get it from anybody's technology or their product. You get a immunity, but it's not to the seasonal flu that year. Nature picks and chooses these things, not corporations, not GlaxoSmithKline and Merck. You know, they give you an immunity to a partially broken down flu. Remember the 3 types of vaccines, and all of them are based in 100-year-old science. The new DNA ones are coming out, and we'll have to sit back and wait and see what happens with those. But you know, you're not getting immune to the thing. That's why you got to get booster shots, because they don't work long term. But what they did, Susan, the way I see it, they banned it. They banned herd immunity. Right, the other nations have it. Sweden and all the other ones, right? If I had an autoimmune condition, if I were elderly, I'd be considering getting on an airplane, spending an extended vacation in one of the wiser nations that actually had flu season this year, and they didn't ban herd immunity, right? And a lot of my friends still believe in it. They still believe in flu season and the pandemic. Once again, literally, to the letter of the definition, it is a pandemic, but it was planned. And there are bigger pandemics above it. Cancer, ALS, autism, like all the ones that are far above it. We completely ignored those people for a long time. Now suicide is a pandemic, like we talked about yesterday. Well, it'll come because people didn't get the true immunity. But a lot of my friends who still believe in it, well, what should we have done? And I don't want anyone to think it's my idea. I listen to smart people and I just share the information. They say, well, you tell the old people and you tell the people with autoimmune conditions and the sick people to stay at home. And you let those of us who are stronger, have stronger immune systems, go out in public and get herd immunity. We build up a buffer for you so you can come out later. And then you come out later. That's what we should have done. If we did that, we wouldn't have any problems right now. But the pharmaceutical industry, they would have problems. They wouldn't have the profit forced medical police state system that they're about to engage. But we got to be wise. We got to be wise. We always think corporations have a better way of doing things, and corporations have only been here for a minute. But that's probably what'll happen is if most of us didn't get the flu, we'll start getting it. And we'll see where it goes from there. After this, something else will be fashioned. There's Christine, absolutely. They're going to continue to fashion a new ting, as long as you think that every ting is not going to be all right. That's what Bob Marley said. Every ting is going to be all right. They're going to fashion a new ting as long as people are fearful, as long as they believe they're going to keep using fear to sell products. And that's all I see is just advertisement. They're trying to sell you something. Right now, they're trying to sell you drones and robocops. They're trying to convince you that there's no problem with the laws. The problem are just bad apple police, and we need to retrain the police. Like, no, the laws are unconstitutional. They ban people from land and resources. They force them to take corporations' products. They literally take society's ills and turn them into industries. People stop blaming the police and they realize they got a police state. They realize the problem is the state. It's not the police. The police follow the state. The police are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And when you get drones out there, you'll realize that. But by then it might be too late. Women were technically sex slaves as well. Yes, they were, Hunter, and unfortunately, and that only ended recently. In some places, it still didn't end. It's still going on. But I think a lot of times they do this stuff to kind of like distract us from the real problems. Like, we got real problems and they're all easy to solve, but they need to keep us distracted, Hunter, from those real problems. Sumerian state, we were made as slaves. That, you know what, and Zachariah Minogue, I think that's possible. I think it's a plausible theory, only because I watched the slave mind of people. I'm not convinced that slavery gave people these slave minds. Like, before slavery, you had to have a mind to be okay with being a slave. I always go back to Kanye West quote. Slavery was a choice. It's a choice now, and it's going to be a choice in the future. It never stopped because we keep choosing it. We keep choosing the new flavor of slavery that comes out because it's popular. It is possible that we were bred as a slave species. Some of us, possible, some of us came from somewhere else. I don't know. Zachariah, I wasn't here. I know I look like an old dude, but I was not here way back then. But I like everybody's theory. I think there's a small degree of truth to everything. Each baby born should get 16 acres without ownership. Absolutely, Rebecca. I've been thinking about this a minute. All right, so if you break apart America, it's 16 acres per person. At 320 million, 340 million people, whatever we are. As everybody at birth, that should be their birthright in a land. But that's everywhere, right? Britain, Africa, China, all over. Everybody, you should not get a land to own. You should get a land to steward. Like, I've been thinking about this for a little while, not a long while, Rebecca, so it's going to have holes all in it. But as a solution, you give people back the land, they wouldn't be out there rioting. They wouldn't be out there, being shot by the FBI because they need to graze their cattle on land that they've been grazing their cattle on land for a long time with the Bundys and Lavoy Finicom and them, right? If it is your birthright, if we love children, we would give them an ecosystem at birth. would at least, that's the bare minimum we would do. We would bare minimum give them what slugs get. Slugs come to mind because that's the thing I'm fighting right now. I got slugs all over the garden. That's okay, I got some nematodes for them. 16 acres, but not owned, not owned. Nobody actually owns land anyway, right? You all die and somebody else takes the land. So nobody actually owns land. The Europeans stole the land from somebody who stole the land, somebody who stole the land. And maybe the mound builders, they got wiped out by the Younger Dryas and they didn't steal the land from somebody, but they still stole it from buffaloes and deers and whatever else. You know, I just believe in dealing with the modern world, like where we are today. Everybody back then is all dead. Now we got to deal with where we are today. And I try to view it from all my ancestors' perspectives. And I think if they were all alive now today, and they've been watching us from wherever they are, from Europe and Africa, Native America, the spirit that all of these spirits put in me is that we need to be taking care of us right now. We got babies being born right now that have things that they don't need to put them in conflict with people they shouldn't be in conflict with. But yeah, so not that you own it, Rebecca. I think that you get your 16 acres, right? And you can do basically what you want with it. There'll probably be some minimum rules around it, you know, that support the ecosystem. Not support me, not what I want, not what government wants or corporations or EPAs and none of that. They're bare minimums. Like you have to have some rules that keep things in line with the deer, the buffalo, the bees, the birds. Like you just can't take it and just spray oil everywhere. There's some things that you want to have. Bare minimum though, you got to keep that list very, very small. Because when it comes to sovereignty and it comes to like trusting each other, we all do the right thing given enough time. But you all get 16 acres. So if you got a family of 4, then 16 times 4, and it reallocates over time. When you die, you can will that on to somebody else, you know, because if you work the land, build up a dairy farm or farmed or whatever, you can give it to your kids, but that's your kid's 16 acres. Like there'll be nobody collecting 32 acres. Right? We've done this landowner, robber baron, tycoon, psychopathic power thing. We've done this for a couple thousand years. It's time for that to stop. And it gets reallocated over time. Eventually it'll be 10 acres, right? Because human beings, they like sex. They're not just wombakins, but they like the piece that it's attached to. So we're gonna have more and things pop out. And it'll reduce, but as we end world conflict, I'm not worried about land. Right. As we end the world's conflict, all the ignorant conflicts over nation and color and people over being born with things that they should have that they don't have, that's a requirement for them to thrive, we'll be thriving. Technology will shoot through the roof. We'll start making the island houses. We'll be living out on the ocean. Like me personally, I've lived on land my whole life. I can't wait to get in the Venus Project, house on the water. I'll go do that for a little bit. And that'll increase our square footage, right? And very soon we'll be on Mars, we'll be on the moon. If we're not busy making weapons to go murder people from space, and we're just thinking about traveling through space, maybe I want to go live on Mars for a little bit. I want to go live on the moon. A lot of other people want to go too. You know, other planets, the sooner we'll get to them. We've held back technology thousands of years playing keep the 0.01% in power while we fight the other poor people over resources that they don't even have. Right? We've done that for a long time. So over time, land won't be an issue. The solar system literally is a big place. And there are Earth-like planets around every single sun, right? You can have your own planet if you want, I would bet. There's plenty of them to go around. There are more Earth-like planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone than grains of sand on all the beaches all over the Earth. It's pure ignorance that we fight each other over land. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Fighting each other over borders and land in a Milky Way galaxy that literally has so much land that there's probably nothing up there. I mean, I believe there's aliens and intelligent life. Don't get me wrong, it's biology and stuff. But there's no way that all of that's populated. Just how from suns go through their expansion and contraction, right? They murder everything on the planet. Anybody stupid enough to stay on the planet because they think they can control the climate is going to die. The sun's supposed to get bigger, wipe everything out, and then it shrinks, and you have millions, if not billions of years that nothing lives on that Earth, that planet. So there's plenty to go around. We're just not wise. We're warriors or we're wise, but we're not wise warriors. When we become wise warriors, that is the only thing the 0.01 fears. The only thing that they fight is the only reason they get out of bed in the morning and create a military. or a police state. It's to kill the people, kill the folks who figure it out and are willing to stand up to do it. Good morning, Will. Good morning, Don. Wise people should lead, not rule. Absolutely. Well, you know what, Christine? I'm even scared of that lead word. Rule is too far. I don't like lead. I just don't like the idea of leading, Christine. I don't like the idea of anybody leading. I don't want to be led, and I want that for everybody else too. You know, Zachariah behind you. I don't know enough about Zachariah to lead Zachariah anywhere. I think there are facilitators. There might be in the near term, before we get everybody out of these 27 warrior genes that's got them in conflict with everybody else, the psychopathy genes. There needs to be a temporary facilitatement, not a government. I think a facilitatement just to make sure that everybody's got their 16 acres. You're still going to have people doing violence because not everybody is a child born into abundance and thriving yet. You know, that'll happen in less than a generation, but it takes time. And you might even need some police temporarily until those people realize that living free is better than living in a cage or whatever we're doing to them. But yeah, I don't like the idea of lead. That just doesn't make. I think it's a dangerous concept. I think once you bite into that power thing, eventually it always ends up in total power, absolute power, and then corruption. Change starts with the man in the mirror. Zachariah knows, thank you. Yeah, change starts with the man in the mirror and it ends with the man in the mirror. Change starts with the woman in the mirror and it ends with the woman in the mirror. That's why I don't tell nobody what to do, Zachariah. I don't tell anybody what to do. I have enough time. I have a hard enough time with myself. I got a hard enough time with myself rebelling against myself. I really don't have time to go down there and tell Susan or Jonathan, anybody else what to do. I'm going to do what I think is the right thing to do. And I think the way that works, Zachariah, if it is really the right thing to do, is really the right way we're supposed to be going, then other people will do it too. So, you know, so you don't have to lead or tell anybody anything. I think you just do what's right to do and other people follow it. It'll go viral, right? But we have to learn how to stop telling other people what to do. We have to learn how to stop fighting poor people who are just easier to fight. You can't truly love something you own. Love is freedom. Ooh, Susan Jewell, go on with that. You can't truly love something that you own. Love is freedom. Once you own the land, it changes your relationship with it. Oh, she's speaking on the frequency levels. Oh, is that resonating? Oh, is that resonating? That is deep. Hell yeah, that's deep. Right, when you own it, you can abuse it. This is mine. I own this. These are my children. I own these things. I can do this to these things. This is my land. It's not the deer's land. The owl doesn't get to live here. I can murder it when I need to. Stop it, Susan, because you got me thinking about these slugs. So I own this land. It's my crops. I put this seed in the ground. You don't get to eat. But you know, I don't want to kill all the slugs. I'm trying to steward. I'm just trying to limit their population with nematodes, right? The nematodes, they're stinging nematodes that kill the slugs in the garden. So I'm using compost tea to spread the nematodes around. I'll tell you how that's done, but it'll probably make you sick and it'll probably violate the whole point of loving slugs. But you'll find on YouTube how to get rid of slugs naturally. But once you have an ecosystem, everything is in balance. That's deep. That's very deep. Absolutely. I'm gonna steal that. Thank you, Susan. We have to do it. Won't be popular any other way. No, we have to do it, Jonathan. If not us, who? If not now, when? Unconditional love. Yes, Christine. Unconditional love. What's that, Brett Carey? Most Americans like the idea of the haves and have-nots. They like the concept of exclusivity. It's not just middle-class people, it's poor people as well. The people are just upset that they aren't always the haves. However, you have to you have a small, very small percentage of people from both the middle class, the poor classes, and the poor class that want a society where everybody can live comfortably. Yes, I agree with that. But you know, the thing I'm gonna say with that, Brett Carey, is most people are told what they should be, right? Most people are told what they should have, and I understand that most people are out there because things have been kept from them their whole lives, right? And they're lashing out. But I agree with you that there are a lot of people that are starting to see through slavery. They're starting to see through the matrix. And now might be a great time. Now might be a profound time. Now, we might be the generation, Brett Carey, with a generate. They look back and say, you know what? I am so glad Grandmama Christine and Riley and Sandra figured this out. Gee, I'm so glad they figured it out. We'd all be slaves if it weren't for them. We'd all be slaves if they weren't warriors and wise. Good morning, Jennifer. Patriots to the human race, patriot to the earth, more than patriot to billionaires, countries, and trillionaires' flags. All right. Hey, good morning, Sandy. All right, I'm start working down, put on some exiting music, because I gotta get out of here. The clouds is getting dark. I got food to grow. And I can't, I'll come out here for a minute. We'll have a discussion. I certainly got to get some stuff in the ground, into the ground. I love the concept. Publicly shaming corrupt politicians, it seems to be real motivator for change. Tiana, am I allowed to disagree with that, sis? I'm gonna disagree with that. I don't like shaming politicians because the play that I see right now is people love their politicians. And the psychology behind that says that if I shame, let's say Marissa is an Obama lover, Marissa Sheehan, and I shame Obama, then Marissa's not going to hear what I have to say about what we need to share the ecosystem. Right? If Hillary is a Trump supporter, and I know they're going to reply right away, I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm not a Obama supporter, because that's just what people do. It's okay. And I shame Trump for racism. I shame Trump for slavery. And Donald J. Aloysius Trump ain't got nothing to do with racism nor slavery. Then it means that I've made a time where we got real problems about me. I've made it about politicians and politics. I've taken a very real problem and I made it political, right? Like climate change. Right? The reason that we can't have an intellectual discussion on climate change is because it's political. It's a wasted word now, completely wasted. The climate doesn't give a damn what you want. It's going to change. And the right was right about that. That doesn't mean that you burn up your planet. They were wrong about that. You know, but I don't like the idea of shaming politicians, Tiana, because it's not really about the politicians. It's about the identity and how people attach their self and their hope to these people, their heroes and the villains, right? If you attach your identity to the reality that racism is about Donald Trump, then you are actually what's getting all these kids in the street killed, right? Because you're taking a very real time where we got very real problems that we can very real solve, and you're making them political. So that's why I don't like the shame. It's something, what is it, like a power word or keyword or something about when there's a psychological effect to that. But if I start shaming their politicians, they can't hear me. And I want Marissa and Hillary to hear me. I think that the message our ancestors passed down about sharing is an important one. I think Christ gave a message about love everyone. Natural law has a message about sharing the ecosystem in balance. And I think that we need to carry those messages forward. And it's not going to happen if I'm offending people. So if when I'm trying to be careful, Tiana, when I say something about Trump, I always say something about Obama. And usually it's a joke, and I don't blame him. I always ended up with it, but I don't blame him. If I were Trump, I'd do what he did. If I was Obama, I would do what he would do. So it's not even about the politicians. There are all these different levels in the system, and the problem is the system. The problem isn't the politicians. It's the system. The politicians are just like us. You know, Beaufont's in the shoes he is because Beaufont was born in the shoes he is. I can blame Beaufont for his shoes, but at the end of the day, Beaufont was just a baby. He didn't know anything about genitals and anuses and all that messy, all that crazy stuff that he posts. You know, he was born in them shoes. You know, dingleberries didn't land on Beaufont. Well, no, Beaufont didn't land on dingleberries. Dingleberries landed on Beaufont. Oh, goodness, it's getting dark out there. My power's probably about to go out, so I'm about to get out of here. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Christine. So I don't know. So that's what I'm saying, Tiana. I'm trying to be more effective with communication. I think the only way you can do that is you have to know more people of the people that you're not supposed to know. Whoever I'm not supposed to know the most. And that's why I posted that thing about the Proud Boys this morning. I appreciate the fact that Hotep Jesus said that the Proud Boys are men. And he's right. And him having that dark skin and being honest and saying that, that's important for people to hear that. Yeah, they are men. They're standing up to the same degree. So is Antifa and some of these Black Lives. They're warriors. They're warriors. They're taking on the most corrupt, dirty, foul, filthy police state, militarized toy of the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. But they're not wise. They're warriors, but they're not wise. And I think that's how you shake things up too, Tiana. Got to shake things up. When things get too ignorantly locked into groups, you got to try to stir the Kool-Aid a little bit. Good morning, Tammy. Good morning, Jennifer. Let me see. What's going on, Christine? Yes, live streams replace books. They should. Christine, you're probably right about that too. Because books are one way. It's a one-way communication. You can't really get with the author in a forum like this. I agree. The books are like TV in that way. I appreciate this here because if I say something wrong, any of these people can post a link right now to make sure that nobody follows the fake news that comes out of my mouth. I'm ignorant with everybody else. And it's like this check and balance. And that's what we need in society is more check and balance. Or if I say something and I misspeak, they can add something to add to it to correct it. Or if I say something they want to add on, they've got other research they can add on. This is a multi-conversation. Gerard, find out why they like and feed them nearby. Eventually move the food source away from your crops. Find out why they like and feed them nearby. What are we talking about, Miss Tree? Eventually move the food source away from your crops. Oh, you're talking about the slugs. Yeah. Well, what I'm doing, I know what they love, Miss Tree, too. They love stevia. They love basil. I grow a lot of basil because I like to make pesto, and I grow a lot of stevia because sugars are carcinogen. It hurts you with flu season. So I'm actually, I planted those at a further distance. The only one I can't deal with right now is the bunny. That damn rabbit. I got a lot of lettuce I can plant for the rabbit to eat. I'm just, that daggone rabbit. And I might do that too. I gotta listen to Susan and get past this idea that I own the land and plant enough. You know, the deer have enough food on the outskirts to eat. And I try to plant enough for everybody, but the rabbit's a little vicious this year with the slugs. We have to accept our shared responsibility and then work on ourselves. We all caused this. Yes, we did, Jonathan Close. We all did. The reason kids are dying in the street, white and black, it's not because of Donald Trump, it's because of me. That's first stops. It's me, I did it. Yep, got the power blinking. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the last portion of the music. This power about to go out, baby. I'm about to be in some darkness. I gotta charge my cell phone. But I promise I will not be knocking no trees down by myself thinking I'm the mountain this time around. We're gonna start getting Brother Pat singing in the background because I don't like the midway endings. Somebody said something I want to speak about. It's a responsibility. Jonathan Close, that's right. You know, I accept my responsibility in racism. I accept my responsibility in people hating black people. I accept my responsibility in voting for two political parties that used group and tribalism and racism and brought it back alive after it was pretty much almost gone and made it popular again. Two political parties at election time. Right? And I think that's why they chose Obama and chose Trump, to get everybody all racially motivated again. I think they did that on purpose. So all I got to deal with in terms of racism, Jonathan Close, is I just got to fight it within myself. And where I am right now, for the most part, I don't see race. For the most part. I see skin color, but I don't associate that with race. Like, I've pretty much already told myself the reality. I've created that reality for myself that race doesn't actually exist. That's just something that billionaires and millionaires and fools in the past created to keep me in conflict with everybody else. I just see different skin color, and I like all of them. Like when I see, here's a test. When I see somebody, a baby, fall and get hurt, do I think, oh, do I need to go help that black baby? Do you do that? Let me go help that white baby. Do you see that, or do you see a child that just fell off of a bike that got hurt, the parent's not around, and that child needs some help? The child is crying. And I'll say this, when the child gets hurt, this is how I know that I'm not on that version of the psychopathic spectrum. When a child gets hurt, I do anything I can. I don't think about the race at all. So I know the racial component is being put in there by somebody else, not me. It's not a part of myself. It's not significant. It's only significant when the television says it is, right? When I see somebody getting beat up by the police, I don't care if they're white or black. Yeah, but I do know that they filter the white folks getting beat up by police on the internet for a reason, to make it tribal. They engineer everything, they control everything, and they turn us against each other. So when it comes to racism is fought between this block, between these two ears. And I meet somebody that doesn't like me, I try to make them like me. I can't make them, but I can show them I'm not like what anybody told them, right? I told the story. My mother, she was a teacher in Michigan for a period of time. She went there from Arkansas, and being a teacher, she was the only black person in the school. Not the only black teacher, the only black person, period. And all the kids wanted to touch her skin. And they're like, it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a negative thing. Like, wow, I've never seen black skin before. The only time I see it is on television. They want to touch her skin. It's not racism. It's just not, they'd never touched it before, right? But once they touch it, it's like, oh, wow, it's soft. It's like mine. Doesn't have like needles. It's not like scales. It's not like what the people telling me. Wow, okay. And not only that, but Miss Hay is nice. Wow, she's like the other teachers. I don't like her because she's a teacher, but she like the other. That's how you fight racism. Right? You fight fire with water. When you meet people who have fire in their hearts, understand the fire is there for a reason. There was kindling, there was kerosene, and uses the government that lit it on fire. You can fight it by putting the fire out. Just sprinkle a little love on it, sprinkle a little water on it. Show them that it's wrong. Show them that they've been lied to, and it goes away. End of story. Then we don't have to deal with it no more. But people get angry. They get out in the street. They listen to their politicians and their leaders that are making a whole lot of money on industrialized racism, and they don't realize that these people are making more racism because it gains them more power. All right, I got to get going. Good morning, everybody. Done. Everybody got a last word, and I'm gonna run because that power is blinking. No man, no more isms. That's it, Jeannie. Jeannie got the last word. No more isms. Once again, when we have no handle on our body, there's no identity anywhere on our intellect for somebody to attach a collar to and drag us around. They can't control us. They can't drag us around like a mangy dog if we don't have a collar. When you take your collar off, you're wild. You're a wolf. You can do anything you want to do. You can't be turned against other people. That's when the system collapses. All right, how you going? Gerard, love y'all to death. Get rid of them collars. You don't need them. You aren't what they say you are. You are actually a free creature born on an enslaved planet. You might have a slave mind, but it doesn't stay if you don't want it to. Anyway, get it going. Gerard, love y'all to death. All they fear is wise warriors. That's it. That's it. If you're wise, work on the warrior part. Eat healthy food. Get strong. Get independent. Build a community. If you're a warrior and it's obvious now that you've been doing some unwise things and the system loves you and they're not sending the police state out to get you with the military and some drones, and you realize that you're not actually fighting the system. You're doing what they want you to do. This is Gerard. Love y'all to death. Gotta go. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye. Bye.